All right, welcome, Buddy Book Club. I'm Dylan here with a cunting son of a whoring demon, Keith. What's up, buddy?
Let's have a whoring good pod, boys.
Oh, if we didn't already have the explicit rating on iTunes, we definitely will after this one. So here at the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us about any past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on Twitter or Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. You can listen to us wherever you go for podcasts, so please download and subscribe. Keith, Between Two Fires, honestly, I have no idea how to categorize this book. It's part historical fiction, part horror, part fantasy, and all sorts of potty mouth.
I said it was basically The Last of Us meets American Gods meets Stephen King book. Those three things weaved together somehow.
Yeah, it's like The Last of Us, but instead of fungus screwing with people's brains, it's boiling pustules, killing everyone, all the while a war is raging between heaven and hell.
The mix of the adventure part with like the guy and the young girl.
Yeah.
Then obviously like the plague going around, which the plague I feel like wasn't even a big deal in this book compared to everything else. So it's kind of funny.
Between Two Fires takes place in the year 1348, the years of the Black Death. It follows Thomas, a disgraced knight who found a lone young girl in a dead Norman village, and they go on a quest to Avignon to see the Pope. So that's pretty much what our story is. Keith, let's get into it with some stock up, stock down. Stock up, what do you got?
Stock up violence.
Oh.
Yeah. Tomas is the best character in the book for me. I mean, he's basically William Wallace, but if like William Wallace had like instead of his driven revenge being towards England and freeing Scotland, it was just William Wallace being like, fuck it, I'll just go do whatever, like that's basically what he is, and like a rated R version of William Wallace. But his counterpart, Delphine, the girl, is so anti-violent and anti-killing people, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It doesn't really mesh in the book, considering they're all dead instantly every stop they go to if Thomas is not there and able to provide that violence. Delphine's kind of like wants a nice steak dinner, but doesn't want the cow to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good analogy.
Well, I don't really get it. And the worst example to me of it was those British fuckers are going through towns and ransacking them and just killing and slaughtering people. Tomas is like, all right, time to evict some justice here. And then he's like, no, I can't do it, because Delphine wouldn't want me to kill these people. Wait, what? Like, so they're just going to now continue to kill more people? By killing them, you're preventing more deaths. And then he gets saved from them, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, because then the alternative is then they go and...
But they still all kill everyone. And it didn't give us the best possible scene, which was the duel between him and like his revenge. So he didn't even get to carry out his revenge against the guy that stole his wife and land. So anyways, stock up violence, stock down Gandhi. We should be killing people. I'm on Thomas's side. Fuck Delphine.
All right.
What do you think of that?
I like it. Yeah, no, I'm in for it. It is interesting. She says don't kill anyone. And so you should still be able to just like chop someone's leg off and be like, all right, he'll survive, whatever the case is. Which he does do a decent job of like not killing people. But I feel like that scene was interesting where he lets the guys in the baths live. And then they end up letting him live. Granted,
they slaughter everyone else.
Yeah. But all those people are shitty anyway, so they all deserve to die.
Right.
There's a lot of moral quandary going on in here, which I do enjoy as well. It's obviously like very religious. The whole book is. I say movie because it feels like one. Mm-hmm. The fact that this hasn't been made into like a TV show or something, put a big budget behind this, it'd be wild.
I was thinking it'd be a great video game.
Oh,
yeah. There's so many bosses and like bad guys that come,
For
it'd be
sure.
like a perfect video game.
Yeah. He was just so much better than that guy in the scene when it came down to the duel. But you knew it wasn't going to end with him just like gloriously walking off killing him. You knew something had to happen.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
My first stock up is Canal Street in New York City. You've been there?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
It's where you go to get all like the fake Rolexes and like Louis Vuitton purses that are fake for like $15 or whatever the case is.
Okay.
In fourth grade, when you take your New York trip, like everyone wanted to stop at Canal Street and get some cool fake jewelry or something that you get for $10. And everyone always makes fun of that person or whatever the case, especially later in life. You know what I mean? People are like, you want to go to Canal Street? Why? It's all fake shit. But in this book, they basically meet a street peddler and he's got all sorts of stupid trinkets or whatnot. But you never know when you're going to find the diamond in the rough. He has in his possession the Holy Lance, also called the Spear of Destiny, a.k.a. the Holy Spear, or, if you're interested, the Lance of Longinus. Or, excuse me, the Longinus.
Wait, pardon?
The Lance of Longinus, which sounds sexual and violent. It's the legendary relic that pierced the side of Christ during the crucifixion. And they get that for pennies on the dollar and use it to their advantage, not 200, 300 pages later, to start stabbing demons. So, maybe in that Canal Street, all those, that grocery bag of Rolexes, maybe one of those in there is a real one. You just never know. So don't rag it. You never know when something good will come up.
This book needed like a footnote section because I was like, cool, they got a spear. I had no idea what that was when I was reading the Wikipedia page. They're like, yeah, this spear is obviously, everyone knows about it. It's this famous one that stabbed Jesus. I was like, oh yeah, totally. There's so much religious stuff that I'm sure that went way over my head on this that I had no idea what was going on.
Wow, that's not very good as a Catholic boy that you are.
Yeah, turn the other cheek. That's the only thing that really you need to know from the Bible. You know, all the other stuff's like, it's all fantasy written stuff.
I mean, that's what you did for the priest.
Which cheek? I'll see my way out.
Okay, what else you ever stock up?
Keep it in the religious theme. Stock up Going to Heaven because, the last 15 minutes of this book definitely did not leave a good taste in your mouth. I'm like, thank God all this horror stuff's over. They're like, no. Let's make sure it's terrible on what hell is. And I'm going to explicitly just explain it to you, which I also didn't get why he was going to hell because, if anything, this guy deserved a Purple Heart or multiple Purple Hearts over, right? Like, he put his penance in.
A Silver Star, maybe Medal of Honor.
Right? I don't really understand why. He's a frontline soldier at this point, you know? Yeah. Why is he going to hell? I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it's really like there were cases in like World War II when you were a Russian soldier, if you just like absolutely crushed it but then had to surrender, the rule was no surrendering. So if you surrendered, when you got back to Russia, they'd like kill you. So at the end of the war, after all these Russian prisoners have been in Nazi prisons, which Nazi prisons were terrible for Russian people. They were basically just like stockades out in the open with no food or anything. So most of them died anyways. But then if you managed to survive and you get back home, immediately Stalin sent you to Siberia or the Gulag or something like that for surrendering. So, yeah, it was kind of like that for Tomas.
But if you win the Gulag, you get to come back, I assume.
Well, that's video games.
No, it's different? Oh, okay.
Yeah, different in real life. But for Tomas, I guess just like a little bit of penance at the end doesn't make up for all of the brutality and murdering he did before, even though he has a good soul. I mean, with my other stock up, I'll spoil it here, was hell. Not that hell's a positive here, but more of... You definitely don't want to go because it sounds hellish, you know.
It doesn't sound good.
Skinned alive, then dragged with your skin dangling off of you. And then your skin gets sewn back up with all of the dirt and gravel still attached. And you just like do that over and over again. Mm-hmm. Is that worse than the other part of hell, which is you become the butt of every joke you've ever told? So... anytime you ever told a joke that was mean to someone or anytime you were mean to that person, it all comes back to you in hell and now you're on the other side of it just over and over and over again?
No, I think the skinned alive one is worse.
The skinned alive one's probably worse. Yeah. When he said the joke thing, I was like, oh, whatever. Like I got thick skin, especially after getting dragged around with fucking it dangling off of me and then sewn back.
Yeah.
But as someone who's currently suffering from copious amounts of poison ivy, I think this would be pretty close to hell if you just had a full body of poison ivy and couldn't itch it, just like tied down so you couldn't itch it in a super hot, sweltering room. That seems pretty terrible to me.
I mean, and shout out to Christopher Buehlman, the author. His imagination was incredible. The amount of just crazy, violent scenes that occurred, and then to be like, oh yeah, I have some like in the appendix. I'm going to put the hell version where all the things I couldn't squeeze into this book, I'm just going to put it in hell.
All the most fucked up shit I'll leave for the last 15 pages.
Yeah. It puts my The Worst Modern Way to Die blog to shame. It doesn't really shake compared to this.
Yeah, well, if people want to check out that compared to Christopher Buehlman's, go to buddybookclub.com and you'll see how bad Keith is at imagining terrible ways to die, which really means that you're probably a pretty pretty good man at the base. Not that Christopher Buehlman is not a good man. He's just more darkly imaginative.
You already know it has to do with being in an airplane and needing to shit and then dying in that situation. So I mean, obviously that makes a lot of sense.
So similar here is the phrase, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And this ties into the Hell Dream Castle joust scene, which I really enjoyed, when they stumble upon that castle and it's like, oh, are you here for the tournament? And it ends up being like, quote unquote, all in their head, even though it did happen. It was just such a wild scene. They're sitting there like, oh, we have all this food and they're like going to clean our mail and let us take a bath and all this stuff. And Delphine's like, no, I'm sitting in this tree. This doesn't sound right. And my boy over there, Paramacha Anikot, is like, wait, there's wine? I'm in. Let's go. And it's just like weird, fucked up shit going on. He's like,
yeah, that's when the acid kicked in.
Yeah, like, for sure.
I was like, wait, what just happened in this book? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's like the dog's barking at him while he's trying to have sex with this woman and like nibbling at his toes. It's like,
no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. They're walking by rooms where all this crazy shit's going on. I bet you this book, because we're not smart enough to break it down for real, but I bet you there's tons of like religious symbolism and shit.
Yeah. This is where I thought the book was a comedy, by the way. I was like, this is like a funny book? And you're like, no. Oh, okay. I just don't know what I'm reading, I guess.
Yeah, and all this stuff with like hands. For some reason, there was a big obsession with hands. I don't know why. I wish I knew, but like the river monster has a hand growing out of it. Maybe it's a dead body. I don't know. But yeah, so the Dream Castle joust thing was awesome. But hey, people, it's a plague. And someone's like, come on in. We got all the meat you'd ever want. We got all the wine. We got everything. We got ladies. We got guys. We got whatever you're into. Probably not good. So stay away from that. And then lastly, I had stock up for bread bowls, aka trenchers. So before the advent of plates and whatnot, or maybe they had plates, but they weren't used by everyone, you just got a bread bowl and you ate your food out of the bread bowl and then you had a meal afterwards. And I know it's kind of cool for like clam chowder and stuff, but we should just be having everything out of bread bowls in my mind. It sounds delicious. Why did we get away from it?
I mean, you're speaking my language here.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
If hell is all the other stuff, bread bowls, heaven.
Yeah, because the best part is dipping the bread and it's already pre-dipped for you.
Pre-dipped.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, which you'd love to see.
Okay, let's get into stock down. What do you got?
Stock down being charitable, just charities in general.
Okay.
So,
fuck you, St. Jude's. Is that where you're going with?
For literally no reason at all, Thomas shows up to that town where the priest is like, "Yo, we want to go fight this alligator demon water monster," and he's like, "All right, whatever. Yeah, fuck it. I'll go do it." For the kindness of his heart, goes and fights.
Still
no
goes
reason.
to hell. Still goes to hell.
Yeah, yes, obviously it goes to hell. So he goes and he just kills the alligator and the water demon. What does he get for a welcome party, for a reward for his self-sacrifice? No, not gold, not the best town's prostitutes. Maybe a new title. Nope, not that. He gets molested by some old woman who has the plague and comes up and starts making out with him while he's like passed out on the ground.
Yeah.
I've been this. After that point, I'd be like, I'm never doing anything good for anyone ever again. I'd be out. I'd be done. If that's a sign, I just helped this big town out and I fought off a demon, God should reward me. That's the worst sign that's ever to happen. That happened after directly. It's like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, this town was actually, no one could do anything. No one could get their act together. And so Tomas steps up for no reason and saves everyone. And he just gets the oldest wench in the whole land who's got boiling pustules all over her.
So gross. Yeah.
Popping pustules that she's making out with him. Oh, but good old Delphine comes in there and saves him from the plague. So we gotta respect that. But similar to the river monster aspect, I've stalked down my boy Jeremy Wade, and I hate to see it because I love me some Jeremy Wade. Do you ever watch
Jeremy Wade?
Did you ever watch River Monsters on Discovery Channel or whatever?
You're dropping some old school references here. No,
you never watched River Monsters? Such a great show.
I've never even heard of that.
He travels around the world, hundreds of episodes, looking for river monsters and to catch them. So it'll be some crazy story of one of them that I can remember was a little boy who is like out swimming and got his like nutsack bit off. Some serious hell stuff. And so Jeremy Wade's like casually telling this story and then goes out and has to catch this fish, whatever it is.
Does he avenge it?
He tries to figure it out, like what is the fish that's doing it.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be a tiger fish, which if you haven't seen what one of these things look like, the fact that they're in water makes me never want to go in water again. But other than that, usually it's like some man was eaten whole by this monster in a river, and it's like, okay, it was a giant catfish. Like they're always giant catfish is pretty much what it comes down to. So not really that interesting. You know, it's like, okay, it's a catfish, whatever. But our boy Tomas actually fought a river monster, like a real river monster, and it had a human hand as a tail, which is wild, doesn't make any sense. The thing was like using its tail hand to pull swords out of it and all sorts of. I could barely conceptualize it. Like, I guess we're gonna get ahead of my hates, but some of this stuff was hard to conceptualize. Like, I couldn't even picture it in my head.
You didn't take enough acid. That's your problem.
Yeah, I wasn't high enough while I was reading it. So stock down Jeremy Wade. I'm sorry, buddy. I really do respect you. And stock up Tomas, because he's obviously a better river monster. He only did it once. Jeremy Wade has hundreds of episodes. So what else you have for stock down?
Customer is always right. Stock down. This one really got my goat. They're in Paris, basically on the street. They're looking for a house. Some woman comes up that described only as having a mustache, and there's never been a character that's positive that's been fondly described as having a mustache as a woman.
Whoa! I have come from a long line of Italian women that have mustaches as they age.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be like, yeah, she was so great mustache on her, you know.
Are you besmirching my Nana's good name?
I mean, hey, listen, if you want to tell me she has one and she is great, then I'll take it back.
I wouldn't say it's one of her defining features, though.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this woman is just being a complete dickhead, just being such a bitch to them. For me, I'm a customer's always right guy. If someone's being this mean, I'll sleep on the ground before paying this person. Like, there's no way I'll let this person get my money after treating me like this. Just won't do it. She's like, if Tomas speaks again, you're not getting the room. All right, fine. Tomas stops talking. They hand over like way more money than they possibly should be handing over to this woman. And then she pulls the oldest trick in the book of like, just go down like the alley and just keep walking. And it's like that random door there. In the book, I was like, okay, great. So Tomas will stay there. The room's not up to snuff. He just slits their throats right there. But they all walk down like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, there's no buyer beware going on here. There's you know, they already have their senses are tickled. And instead, they just let this woman have their money and walk away.
Yeah, it was an awful, awful con. At least a con man makes you feel warm and bubbly for a little bit before you get fucked over. She wasn't even doing the warm and bubbly part. Like, she's a terrible con woman. It pissed me off at everything, and I really wanted her to die. The fact that she didn't get killed, stock up violence, it was really upsetting to me, and that was one of the most upsetting things in the book, honestly.
And that room, just the description of the room, just like rotting bodies on the floor. It's just like flies everywhere. A lot of fly stuff going on. A lot of basil bub.
A lot of smells described too in this book.
Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine if this book was Scratch and Sniff. Good God.
He described all these smells all the time, and I always be like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It's like periwinkle and like...
yeah, Moon's Blood Lace. I'm like, what? What the fuck does Moon's Blood Lace mean?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going
on. My next stock down is, I know this one's going to hurt you, Keith, but sex parties. So they might seem cool. Someone says, hey, you want to go to a sex party? It's like, yeah, sure. Well, you know, sounds interesting. But there is a non-zero chance that all the beautiful naked women are really just reanimated dead women bathed in perfume so you can't smell the rotting corpse underneath. And that's something that you have to take into consideration. So if, once again, the too good to be true, it probably is, sex party with all these women wearing stag heads straight out of Eyes Wide Shut, yeah, they might all be dead corpses reanimated with like...
But the corpses kind of sounded hot? No.
Yeah, they did, but they had like crushed hand warmers inside their orifices so they like felt warm for the penises. It was disgusting. I made that part up. I don't think they had hand warmers in 1348, but that's what I envisioned.
What's the difference between that and using some sort of other tool, like a pocket pussy or whatever?
I think they're called fleshlights these days.
Oh, okay.
Well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Literally nothing. It's a great point. I can't fault you. I cannot fault you. Yeah.
I mean, it's a warm body kit. Everyone says anything that walks, warm body. I don't know what the issue is here. I had no issue with it.
Okay. Well,
if you're going to hell already, I mean, apparently you can do all good. It doesn't matter. You know, that's what this book taught us.
Dead body sex parties.
Stock up. We're back.
Stock up for Keith. Yeah. Lock the doors to your nearest cemetery. Keith's on his way. Bring the lube. Oh, God. What else you ever stuck down?
That's it.
I had God. Last one. Sorry, God.
That's fair.
I mean,
that's fair.
What are you doing chilling while all this horror's going down? Why have you forsaken us, Lord? I don't understand. It's like, oh, the whole time, all this terrible stuff's going on. It's just like, yeah, God's just like off somewhere. He's missing. It's like, God's missing? He's omnipresent. He's omnipotent. He's got it all. Why can't he just be like, nah, I'm not going to allow this to happen? Instead, he's like, nope. Let it all go down. And the devil and the rest, or Lucifer and the rest of his minions, are going to go up and take heaven next after they take the earth. And no one seems to care. Just like a couple of angels are like, yeah, okay, let me help you. You know, thank God for Michael, my confirmation name, Saint Michael, comes in to save people.
Me too.
But
the only way they show up is like, well, you need to cut open a young innocent child in half, and then we'll show up.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, what? That's the only passageway we can show to Earth.
So yeah, we need you to murder this innocent young girl, and then we'll be able to get there. But all the demons, they just need someone to say fuck, and they're like, all right, we're in.
Yeah, and they're also taking over all the religious things, which makes you think religious things don't even have any significance. Like they're taking over like the Virgin Mary statue and just like speaking shit through her mouth that should not be spoken about.
Yeah, I mean they're making a new pope, stuffing the other one in a cask of wine. Like, what?
Yeah, there's really nothing that's
nothing sacred.
Yeah, nothing sacred at all.
Did you have a favorite scene in this book?
I like the statue scene particularly.
Which statue scene?
Sorry, so when the statues started attacking the house.
When they're at that nice family.
Where they're in Paris.
Yeah, that's so fucked because that family ends up getting fucked for sure.
I know. But that's kind of when I finally figured out what the book was about. You know, well, before that, when I texted you, I was like, so this is a comedy, right? You're like, absolutely not. I was like, all right. But that's when you're like, oh, so they're going to continue to travel on this road, and they're basically fighting demons throughout like in different forms. And that's when I kind of got the reins on this horse, this bucking bronco. I finally figured it out.
Once stone statues were like smashing women's faces in and bashing babies against doors. You were like, oh, I get it now.
Well, the alligator scene, I was like, that's kind of random, but all right. And then the acid trip, I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore. And then that happened, and I was like, okay, I think I get it now.
All you need is a baby's head bashed against a wall for you to get
yeah.
it.
Then I was like, oh, so this isn't funny? Well, that's kind of funny, but I mean, it isn't super funny. But what about you? What was your favorite scene?
I mean, I liked the river monster scene. For me, that's what set it. That's when I realized it was going to be more fantasy-wise, like fantasy horror-wise. Like, it's not just people going around and, like, bad shit happening to people. And they do open it up with the gods kind of talking, or the angels kind of talking, the demons, or whatever the case, like, setting that. So it's like, oh, is it going to be one of those where they're actually involved? Or is it going to be more like ethereal, like they're pushing buttons up in heaven and hell and making humans do good and bad things? So once I found it, I was like, oh, there's actually going to be like demons here on Earth, like doing some crazy shit. I got that. So I like that. I also, at the palace or whatever, with the Pope at the end, that whole crazy battle with the demon that's composed of dead humans that's like using the humans to kill other ones, and then as it continues to move, just like picks up dead bodies and like uses them. It was, I don't know, it was wild. It was like a Studio Ghibli kind of Japanese anime vibe, like super dark, like a super dark version of that. But it kind of had like some. Did you ever see Princess Mononoke?
No, I don't really watch anime.
Oh yeah, well, great movie. It seemed like if the Marvel movies wanted to go dark, have something like this.
Yeah.
That would be fucking crazy. And you already said your character is Tomas. He's your number. He's your ride or die.
Yeah, I like the priest too, but I mean, Tomas is just like funniness and overall kind of disposition, especially after being fucked over. I thought was pretty good.
You watched Game of Thrones. You reminded me of the Hound, kind of.
That's a great comparison. Yeah, that's perfect.
And it was a similar kind of way in that he had this job that he did with the prince or whatnot, and then got canned. And it's Tomas kind of like at the Battle of Cersei or whatever, Cressy, the bad owl Cressy. So then he's just kind of like a lone wolf, and they both pick up a young girl and take her on their quest. So yeah, pretty similar. I had a soft spot for Paramacha. Me and him, we both like to imbibe a little bit. Have a couple of glasses, get all sloppy. I got it.
Both like buggery on the casual Friday night.
A little buggery, never hurt anybody.
I had to look that up. I was like, is this the buggery from Austin Powers, or is this because buggery also just means in British slang like just like an idiot.
Yeah, but
like a bugger is like, oh, what an idiot,
Yeah, but it means like someone who does things in the butt.
So yeah, like I said, exactly like him. But go on.
Because I feel like the first person to be like tried in the New World, aka America, was on a buggery charge, and I think it was like with his own sheep or something like that. Someone will have to fact check me there, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Would you say they had a penchant for buggery, or?
Yes, the facts of my life are quite inconsequential.
We gotta get back onto the Austin Powers quoting more.
Summers in Rangoon, luge lessons. In the spring we made meat helmets. Okay, let's jump into love-hate. Keith, what do you love?
I just thought the time period, the scenery, everything about it I thought was fun. And it was just like non-typical adventure novel, with horror and fantasy and a lot more shit going on in the 1300s. So all things I'm not used to indulging in.
Yeah, and I liked how it was set in some level of historical fiction. I love historical fiction stuff. If someone asked me for a historical fiction book, there is zero chance I would suggest this to them because it is not that. Yeah. But the idea of, yes, at the time, the Post, Clement, whatever, the fourth, he was in Avignon. Like, that's where he was. And he did sit between two fires because his doctors or whatever said the heat of the fire will let you not get the plague. I know that there's symbolism in the Between Two Fires title. If you wanted me to explain it to you, I couldn't, but I understand that it's there. But there also is a literal factor to it. Like, that did happen. And I enjoy that obviously this isn't anywhere near possibly truthful, but the fact that it has bits and pieces of that. But it took me back a little bit to reading Game of Thrones, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but this was quite different.
I mentioned it earlier on, but American Gods and like Stephen King were two books that I think came highly recommended that we read and were somewhat similar to this. And I thought this was about 10 times better than, especially American Gods was like an adventure story in America. And I was like, I could not follow that book, I remember. Mm-hmm. And then the Stephen King vampire horror book,
Salem's Lot.
I know what's going to happen at the end, so why should I even care about this book? Whereas this book, I was like, I literally have zero idea what's possibly going to happen next. So the two things to compare it to, I think this book was way better.
It's so unique. It's such a unique story. And there's highs and lows, there's fantasy elements, the horror stuff's there. It's just you don't have any idea what's coming around the corner because you can't really compare it to anything. I thought that was really fun as well. And I loved, we've been talking about, but the swearing, specifically Tomasa's ability to turn every swear word into an adjective was amazing. I mean, even when he's happy, he says he's so happy he could shit, which people didn't really understand.
That's something you said.
But I said it, right? I said that previously on a podcast. So,
well, you said poop my pants.
Yeah, poop my pants. So me and Tomas are on the same mindset when it comes to that.
How about when he's like, there's something different about you? She's like, what do you mean? This is supposed to be Jesus, mind you, the girl. And she goes, you got tits. I was like, what the fuck? I thought he was going to be like, you've really grown as a strong woman.
Yeah. You've grown into a strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
Nope.
That and he would just throw in random fart jokes throughout the whole book too, which I loved also. Yeah.
And he would give us important things to like think about. Like he'd say, nothing cunting matters. And, really puts things into perspective. If someone says nothing cunting matters in the middle of a plague. What about hate?
I think you kind of prefaced this, but I liked they're fighting those bosses and stuff. But when the actual angels and demons come down and start fighting, and there's like all that stuff's going on, I couldn't visualize it. I was like, I don't know what's going on right now necessarily.
Yeah, like everything in the church or whatever, or the palace made sense. And then after that, all the angels start coming in, and I was like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Like the only thing I remember is like two angels like drag a demon into a lake or something.
And people were getting like killed, but then we're alive, and then open up portals. Like I needed like a visual of this, otherwise I could not really understand it.
Yeah, I needed the last part of the book. I really needed someone to explain parts to me. Like, and one of my hates, like honestly, I don't know what Paramacha's brother had to do with the story at all. He was like a big character in that last third of the book. And like what happened to him, I don't understand. Like what was he doing? What? Like I thought he was going to help them out, but he just like didn't, and then didn't do anything, and then died. And his brother was like, I'm sorry. It was just... And then I have a question for you about hates, because I didn't mind it, but you have come in strongly against dream sequences a la The Sopranos. And this book has lots of dream sequences. So what did you think about those?
Well, usually the dreams I feel like they're kind of just fillers. They're like, well, we don't really have anything to do to push the story along, so let's put a dream episode in.
Because I thought like when it came to The Sopranos, the dreams were for like the blogosphere, for people to be like, ooh, this is what this meant in the dream, like this is what that meant. And I don't really like that, where these dream sequences were pretty obvious. The brother would go into a house and he'd be like, oh yeah, like you should kill that girl. You know, it's like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, you should murder that girl. It's like very clear what the point is. Or
the dreams were also very scary. Yeah, they were not a fun time to be in. So that was purposeful. You know, it was like, you do not want to be in this dream, and where the demons are coming and fucking up your mind. You know.
Mm-hmm. So you like the dreams?
Yeah, I didn't think they were bad here. I also have had way more dreams I've ever had, by the way, the last week or so. And I looked it up, and it was like, it's likely because you're like, you know, you're watching content or reading content that's like much scarier than usual. And I was like, yeah, that's it.
Oh, I'm glad. Hey, Christopher Buehlman, you're letting Keith dream. I appreciate that.
Well, the dreams aren't the greatest, so.
I don't understand if people have normal dreams. I do not. My dreams are all scary as shit. Did you want to cast this?
Tomas, I had Russell Crowe as a gladiator gone wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I had Russell Crowe too, so...
Get out, really? Wow.
I mean, I'm a huge Russell Crowe guy, and like it would fit. And I want him like now, the husky Russell Crowe.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I think it's the first time we've ever predicted this. We've had ones where we've had similar actors, but I think the person we've actually spot on, same person.
Okay, well, then just cast him then. He's ready to go.
All right, Priest, you go.
I didn't have Father Avignon.
What's his name?
I just remember Paramacha Anikot.
I had Sam Rockwell. I feel like he's like you cast him earlier, but I think he's like funny, but he also is like serious but not serious. That's like kind of what the Priest is like. He's kind of flowy, you know. Cool. And then I just for the girl I did, you know the girl from Jojo Rabbit? Her name's Thomasin Mackenzie.
Oh yeah, she'd be great. Big fan. Well, I mean, we kind of flew through that, but I don't think I can stress enough how much I really enjoyed this book. This would be close to my top 10. So maybe just put it in the 10 spot, push the body past it. It's just so unique and so different. And out of the stuff that we had read, it just felt, not that I felt like the books we were reading were getting stale or like repetitive, but having read, what is it now, like 50 books since we've been doing this one just kind of came out of nowhere, and I really enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I really liked it. It was one of those books, I think I've had a couple of these where I'm like, yeah, I liked it, but I don't know who I'd recommend it to. Like, I don't know one person that I'd be like, know what book you'll like, you know, because it's just a weird
this
book.
Horror fantasy fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Tell your mom. Say, hey, Mom, after you go to church, go read this book.
Right. It's not in my top 10, but like I said, we've read a few that are out of my scope of reading ability, and this is one of those. This was a pleasant surprise compared to a lot of those other ones we've read, which are in the similar vein.
Yeah, and something I just found on Googling stuff, you know? No one suggested this to me. No one had even, I've never heard anyone talk about it. I was just like Googling fun books, and this was in there somewhere. What do we have coming up next?
We're going to do No Country for Old Men by CORMAC, McCARTHY.
Yeah, so we'll do No Country for Old Men, and then we'll probably do the movie afterwards, because, you know, we like to take two sides of the coin on these things, and like similar to Hitch, except the opposite. I thought that was a phenomenal movie, and Keith hated it. Didn't get through it.
We'll see.
So,
well, we're doing Goonies next for the movie, and then we're gonna do Well,
we got a whole stock. We got a whole stock of stuff coming up. So,
yeah,
we got.
We're locked in.
No Country for Old Men, the book and the movie, the Goonies for movie, which I'm super excited about. You still haven't seen it, right?
Nope.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go to The Martian and maybe the Martian movie. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so this was Between Two Fires. I hope you guys go out and enjoy it, and we'll catch you for No Country for Old Men. All right.
Alrighty.
Bye now.
Bye now.